Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. We are here to share with you some really interesting advice about the application for Italian dual citizenship, in particular about the application for Italian citizenship by descent. And today we want to go a little bit not into the process, but what is before the process, because before you start the process, what is really important is to be 100% sure that you qualify for the process, so you can be eligible for claiming your Italian dual citizenship by descent before you invest a lot of money and a lot of time for sure on the process. So today we want to talk about, we call it a pre-eligibility check. As always, this is Marco Barsani and do not lose any more time. Let's start. Why is so important to talk about the eligibility check for your Italian dual citizenship by descent? The process is a really long process, is time-consuming and is money-consuming. It's a long journey that we have to do together, so it's really important before starting to not rush the application. We understand that you may be excited because you are thinking about getting your dual citizenship, you want to reconnect to your Italian heritage, to come back to your country where your ancestors were from, and you want to come in Italy also for establish your life here, buy a house. But it's important before starting, okay, for excitement, but pay attention. Pay attention and it's important to make a step back. We need to check if you actually qualify and if there are problems, maybe issues, what can be done. It's really important to, since the beginnings, to set a strategy, a tailored strategy for your application. It's pretty common that the potential future applicant thinks to be eligible and they wrote to us, hey, I just checked, I'm eligible, I want to start the process. Okay, slow down a little bit. Why you think you are eligible? And we discover a lot of time that the client thinks to be eligible because, for example, they found some random information online about the naturalization date, about the birth date, and what happened to the ancestor. But pay attention that before moving forward the process, we need to be 100% sure about those information. So what we need to check, what is really important to check is some basic information about your Italian ancestor and if and when your Italian ancestor naturalized in another country. This is for sure the most important information you need to check before moving forward, and you need to be 100% sure about it. We cannot move forward with a process because you think that maybe your Italian ancestor never naturalized, so after you spend some money and a lot of time, we then discover that they naturalized. Okay, this is something that we have to avoid. So since the beginning, it's important to have a deep consultation, some eligibility check with your attorney, with your consultant, to check if you actually qualify. So for example, the most important information, as I said, is the naturalization date, or to be sure that your ancestor never naturalized. The US Census record, for example, is a document that was filed by the same applicants by your Italian ancestor. And it was pretty common in the past because of the discrimination that all the immigrants had in the past. When they landed in another country, for example in the US, they wrote themselves as naturalized for avoid discrimination, for joining social security benefits. For several reasons. You have not to rely on what you can find, for example, on the census record. You need to collect official documents. You need to request the official records of naturalization, or the immigration offices will say to you that they have no records of naturalization. Only with those documents you can be 100% sure that your Italian ancestor never naturalized. So it's really important, that's why it's also important to be assessed step by step by a professional about all the process for not just the application process for citizenship by descent, but also for the phase, the pre-application phase, so the phase where we check your eligibility. We always do a pre-eligibility check. It's free, so you can contact us through the website. You can contact us and leave us an email. We share some information you already have, if you already collect some information, or we can help you, of course, to collect all the additional information. As I said, is to be 100% sure about the information you have or you will have before moving forward, before the formal commitment for the process, so before spending time and money for the process. As always, thank you so much for your time and see you on next videos.